and welcome back to When IT Hits the Fan, brought to you by Rhyno Healthcare Solutions. Today, we are so incredibly lucky to have CEO John Bryant with us. John, can you tell us who are you and what do you do?
Wow. Again, my name is John Bryant. I'm the CEO of Bryant Staffing Solutions, and we focus on healthcare. It's really our primary right now, but we have traditionally been working with IT and engineering, manufacturing, logistics, even some legal stuff. So and we still do. It's just that ever since COVID, we've really been focused mostly on healthcare, but we still support a lot of our clients in other industries.
If you could you tell me your path to get here? You've started your own business. What was the path to get to entrepreneurship?
Quite the path. I've been recruiting. Wow, I've been recruiting 30 years, or at 30 years, not quite, but I'm up on it. And needless to say, I'd probably say there's always been something in me that's always wanted to run a business. My grandfather was a farmer. My mom's done I don't know how many different businesses. My uncle's has insurance, and really my whole family. Even my cousin right now, he just started his own financial company that to do advising. So it's I think for the most part, it's in our bloodline to some degree. But the path to get here has always been interesting because I work with a lot of big companies, have seen how they do it and how they do it well. Some great things and some not so great things. And so for me, having the ability to be able to learn from some of the best in the industry and then go, all right, let me take what I've learned and apply it and really be able to help people and kind of change the mindset around recruiting. Because sometimes it gets a negative kind of like, oh my God, these guys are, just trying to, just all they care about is putting butts in seat. And
Yep,
that's not something that we
out
that
of
we do.
sights, aren't
We
we?
we actually want to build a relationship with you, and not just now, but also for the future. So that every time you're looking for something, you come back to us, or if you're a client, using that whole word of mouth and like, hey, if we have a hiring need, we got to go to John and the company. So
Absolutely. And you've managed to work with some of the greats, some of the biggest companies in tech over your 30 years. Can you tell me a little bit more about the moment when you decided to go into consulting specifically? Was it because you've always been in recruiting, or was there a specific need in the field that you saw that you could fill that gap?
yeah, I'd probably say there was a specific need in the field that really kind of drove that decision. I'd always done well and made money with all the different companies I've worked with. So that's always been great. But I saw the need to start a business around two different things. One of the things was really being able to control and change the candidate experience as well as the client experience. It was everything that I did with a lot of the large companies was more transactional. It was, hey, we have a need, you call the person, you put them to work, and then you really didn't talk to them after that. It was just more
Mhm.
of you just kind of more of the same. And I saw the opportunity with running a business where similar, but I could just take it to the next level. In other words, I could really service my clients and get to know them and really become a partner. So like now, a lot of what we do is yes, we have clients, but we're also looking for our clients for business. So if I'm meeting someone and I'm like, oh, hey, listen, you need to call such and such, or I just talked to this person. I think it'd be a great lead for you. Now I'm able to do it on a much greater scale on the client side. And then obviously with any candidates, I mean, we have people that we've been working with for years, and they recommend their kids, and we recommend cousins, and you name it. And they're like, and the first thing, and I'm very thankful for this, they're like, hey, don't worry, John and the team, they're going to take great care of you. And just having that level of confidence from them that we're going to do everything we can to help them find a raw opportunity is great. But when I look back on it, I think that, being able to change that dynamic and also diversity in recruiting. I think
Yes.
that's another side of the house that I've been very blessed to be able to do. My whole career, I've worked with all different types of groups and agencies where you can find diverse talent. And so I've leveraged those relationships with our company. And so now, when we present a candidate slate to someone, gonna more 95% of the time it's gonna be very, very diverse. And a lot of times whereas the company may not be able to find them, and like, well, how you guys find them? And well, we're working with the agencies that we've built relationships with and able to really utilize that as an advantage for this. So I saw the diversity aspect and also saw the ability to really take the relationship building on both sides to the next level.
Absolutely. And before we get into your hard won wisdom around the brass tacks of running a company and being in our field and finding the right talent, can I ask you a little bit of a personal question when it comes to the jump going from corporate to being your own boss? Can you talk us a little bit about trials, tribulations, hesitations, or even maybe it was a little easier than you thought? I'd love to hear your take.
Okay, let me say this. If any person who's running a business says that it's easy,
They lying.
God bless them. Because my experience has not been like that, nor anyone else I've ever talked to. Lots of sleepless nights, lots of praying, lots of asking God, this cannot be what you want me to do with my life. This is insane. Because it's not, no, because I mean, because it's not just you anymore. It's one thing when
Yeah.
you work for a company and they're giving you a paycheck. You know it's coming. They got the benefits. Everything's hanky dory. But when you're running a business and everyone else and people are counting on you to make the right
Yeah.
decision, to make the right call, and so that the business can grow and that they can have stability, it's a whole nother ball of wax. And so for me, I'd say that the biggest mental shift was I've always felt I was a pretty good recruiter because you know I wouldn't say great because you can always be better, but I was good at recruiting. I was just terrible at running a business. And so once I realized that, oh, I'm going to have to actually run this business and I don't have the luxury of just recruiting all day,
Yeah.
but I've got to have to do marketing. There's got to be sales. Oh my God, you got to pay people. My goodness, there's operations. Oh wow. I mean, it's like so many different parts of the process. But yeah, I'd probably say that would be it's just not it's the way you think about business. It's like the way I've been in these organizations and I've seen them do what they do. But when you start doing it for yourself, it's like, oh my God, from the administrative person who answers the phone to the person who delivers the final result, it's a lot of moving pieces. And then in the beginning, you're doing everything. And then as the team grows, you learn to let go of things and trust that your people are going to get it done. But all that's a process too. And so just so many things. But I think it's kind of funny and hilarious that God would have me do this at this stage of my life. I was actually kind of okay with just being an individual contributor, but that's not the plan. And so now we have a pretty good team of folks located here in the U.S., but also in India and Pakistan and Kenya. And so it's a lot of moving pieces, but it's been very, very rewarding. And
Absolutely.
also one last thing,
Please.
we as a company, we're also really heavily invested in giving back to the community. So last year we started working with World Vision and we sponsored our first child, and we're in the process of getting ready to sponsor our second one. And so, you know, just being able to do things like that has been extremely rewarding. And I may not have had that opportunity without running the company because we're going to get ready to sponsor another one. And then really for every month moving forward, our plan is to sponsor another kid with the mindset of eventually getting to 1,000 that we can sponsor. So obviously to do that, the company's got to be doing well, but it's just our way of giving back and being able to do something positive in the world. And so I think that's the other side of it too. It's given me a lot of freedom to do things I wouldn't normally probably get a chance to do.
Absolutely. Like you said, your firm has grown quite a lot from word of mouth,
Yes.
which is a testament to your reputation.
Mhm.
But I'm wondering for companies in 2025, as the field shifts underneath us between AI and the changes in finances and government, as well as the talent pool itself, what are some strategies that you're implementing to kind of stay relevant in this new world that we're all facing? Let me word it in a different way. Why don't we start with what are the three major issues on the horizon that you see that could be threats for a company such as yours? And what are you doing to stay on top of the tide?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'd say that all things AI, and I wouldn't necessarily call it a threat as long
Hmm.
as it's used the right way.
Yeah,
Meaning,
you're right.
yeah, that's the catch. Because I mean, I'm telling you, it's been game AI, chat bots, all those things. We utilize them all the time, and it has been truly game changing for our company. So much so that there are roles that now we don't even have to hire for, just because AI can do it for you. However, the scary part of AI is that I can see how easy it would be for a company to go, okay, we don't necessarily need recruiters that or that many recruiters. We're going to let AI be
Hmm.
the tool we use to kind of
Absolutely.
screen and say, this person's a good fit versus not. And once you lose the people element or the human element, that's where things are going to get real shaky. Also, there's biases involved. Obviously, we know that. And so, having bias training is going to be another side of that. But in general, I say AI is definitely something that we need to all be paying attention to within the recruiting industry or consulting industry, just because it's a great tool, but you got to
Yeah.
make sure you use it right. Another thing that I think we're all going to have to be paying attention to is going to be around diversity,
Yes.
especially with changes that are out there right now with our new administration, which is great. No issues there, but it was a lot of changes. And so from a diversity perspective, making sure that you still have that kind of in your focus. It may not necessarily be an actual, okay, this is what we have on paper, but we all know that diversity is huge, and a diverse workforce just makes you better because you
Yes.
have different experiences and backgrounds. So I think that's one thing that we're going to all have to pay attention to. And then just in general, I think that companies like us, we're always, it's the shortage. How do you handle and how do you find these individuals when you have young people today who may not necessarily want to do a 4-year degree, and they may not necessarily have any interest in doing that at all? And so, was it a boot camp? Is it a community college? Is it
Yeah.
on the job training that we're going to have to embrace? Because excuse me, this is not just within IT, but we see this IT, we see it healthcare, really every segment, every industry, except maybe for a few. They're going to all have to think about a different way of
Absolutely.
training, a different way of learning, and then being able to get people to actually be excited about joining these different career fields and goals, because it's a lot, and it's okay. It just means that we're evolving as we always do. But at the end of the day, how do we solve that and make sure we don't, run into issues where we don't have enough people to even get these different jobs done? And AI, I think, will help in many respects, but there's just still some things AI can't do that you still need that human element to make sure that things get done correctly and you don't have the biases and concerns there.
Absolutely. And I'd love to press in a little further into this idea that we have many people in need of jobs. We have many incredibly talented people in need of jobs who might not have the specific skills needed for the exact seats that are open. And then we also have a workforce that's growing, that's reaching the age where they will begin their careers, that perhaps has almost become disenchanted with the idea of going into debt for decades upon time to not have a job guaranteed, things like that. And I'm a huge proponent of education, and I even will say point blank that the deal doesn't seem as sweet as it once did. Can we lean into that a little bit? Can you tell me a little bit more about proactive things that our field could be doing in order to foster new talent, to draw people in, to even help people who are further in their careers maybe transition into talents that are more relevant for the current day, things like that?
Absolutely. I think that's where, believe it or not, I think the biggest push that we can make would be to really work with our elected officials, those who are in different educational institutions, and really having those conversations where you are just being honest and say, hey, here are the numbers. We're just not seeing it. So we'll use nursing as an example. Hey, okay, we may start at the community college because that's a good place to start. But even in high school, middle school, being able to go in and train teachers on this is really what a true career field looks like. And hey, it's okay, even within middle school and high school, you don't necessarily have to do a 4 year. However, here are some of the different things or ways that you can still be a nurse or be a whatever it may be, that or
Yeah.
an electrician, whatever it is.
Phlebotomist. Yeah.
Yeah. But starting much early, maybe even in elementary, having those kind of conversations, getting the teachers really up to speed on what the changing workforce looks like, and then being able to drive that at that level, I think would be huge. I also think that for companies like ours, when we get the opportunity to go out and speak in the community, we get a chance to go out and talk to young people. It's a constant thing for us. Hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it. If you don't want to do the 4 year, no problem. Here's some things that we'd recommend. I'd say the development of your boot camps and different programs at universities and community colleges would be a tremendously important area of growth, because the more that those areas grow, the more opportunities that people have to do different things. And so that it's not a traditional, okay, 4 year degree, may not be. And also educating companies and some of our clients that if you don't see a 4-year degree, it's okay. It doesn't mean doesn't mean they're not good. It just means that they didn't do the what you
Yeah.
may expect, but they're still good. Let's look at some of the areas where they've done internships or some of the things that they've done in working with different companies that really still aligns to what you need them to do. It's just helping change their mindset because we still have companies that we support and we work with right now that'll be like, hey, if they don't have a degree, a 4-year degree, I don't even want to talk to them. And so we are always educating and always going, okay, well, if you take this off the table, the people that you choose from now drops from 100% to 25%. So which one? What would you like to do? And
Yeah.
so for us, we use data. We use it to our advantage, and we can show people in real time analytics that show, all right, when you do this, this is what we get. When you do this, this is what you get. So maybe we need to change our requirements. Maybe we need to change the qualifications so that way you're getting a much better group of folks to choose from. And you may have to invest in some training in order to help them really get up to speed and do what you need them to do. So it's not just changing the education system and then giving people different opportunities as far as things that they can do to learn and train and get certifications, whatever. But it's also working with our clients to change their mindset and their expectations around the traditional, well, all of our best people, if we found them this way. Well, no, I think now we're in a time frame where you have to be open to all kind of different arenas and areas where people may be coming from and be okay with it.
And dovetailing right off of that into something else that you said, diversity. At the moment of this recording, we seem to be at a bit of a cultural crossroads
Yes.
between some people who are they very much believe that perhaps a more homogenous view of what a workplace should be is better, and that automatically certain people having certain roles means that things were skewed or people were put in positions just to fill certain quotas. I am the interviewer and should not say my own opinions, but I think it's hogwash, hokum, and jive. Not to put words in your mouth, but if you could tell us a little bit about the importance of diversity, what a diverse team brings to an organization, that would be phenomenal if you could.
Absolutely. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be sitting here right now if there had not been things and opportunities out there that really fostered my being here and that, kind of provided a support system and provided a foundation for me to even have the success that we're having now as a company. A perfect example would be a program like SBA Thrive, which I just did last year. That's put on by the SBA administration. Phenomenal program. Didn't cost a dime other than to show up and do the things that you need to do. But it is geared towards, getting people who have different backgrounds and diversity, to give us a foundation to be able to do the things we need to do in business and how to run it and all that good stuff. So programs like that to me have been invaluable. You take away those things and I may not be sitting here right now. So it's just just the reality. So I think I understand their mindset around, of course, just not do it based on whatever. I understand that mindset. I
Yeah.
do. However, without certain guardrails,
Yeah.
I'm concerned that it could very easily turn into a scenario where, it's the same old thing. It's the old boys club. It's the same people getting the contracts
Yeah.
because, we all tend to work with people that we want to work with versus when you have certain things in place that say, hey, let's make like a perfect example of small business. Without those programs, like say on the federal government, state,
Yeah.
would we even have a shot? I don't see us having having a shot.
No.
So it's just reality. So to me, it's critically important to have those types of things. So I understand and see both sides of the argument, but for me, it is always going to be front and center. It's always going to be extremely important because our team right now is extremely diverse, but at the same time, it's a beautiful thing because they've been in different environments. They've had different cultural experiences. We're learning from each other. We're learning religious experiences, what they got there, how they were trained, how they were taught, the things they learned, how they communicate with people is different than how we communicate, but it still all comes together. And with those diversity of ideas makes us more well-rounded. We're not
Absolutely.
necessarily missing anything just because, wow, so you've never done X, X, and X. Oh, that's cool. Let me talk to you about my experiences. And
Yeah.
they do in the sharing of those experiences, it just leads to some great results. And like again, a more well-rounded team that's able to deliver to our customers, who, by the way, our customers are diverse too. We don't have a certain we don't have a certain look.
But
So, it may be times where I'm naturally going to be like, oh, I think feel like I know this person, just because they may be someone that I can identify with, and vice versa, or maybe a female. It could be any number of things.
exactly.
But I think when you can show diversity, it means, oh wow, this is a place that really mirrors the world. Our world
Yes.
is diversity. Our
Yes.
world is different. And so if your company doesn't do that and it's all one way, you're really missing out, because your actual customer is different than who you are. And so a lot of times for us, it's very important for us to be very as similar as we can, because that way it allows us to be able to really meet their needs and understand what they need from us.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. And leaning into the longevity of your career and both your experience being on teams as well as recruiting and creating teams, you've worked with thousands of professionals. What is the common traits that you've noticed in people who build the most successful careers for themselves versus those who perhaps struggle to advance?
Yeah, I'd say that being proactive is, and being an advocate for you. The one thing that it took me a minute to
Mhm.
learn, but when I got it, I'm like, I remember one of my things I'll never forget. My manager at the time, I was doing well. It was time to be promoted. It was just that time, and he said to me at the time, he's like, "There's no way we can promote you because you're too valuable in the role that you're in." And I'm telling you, I have seen that one happen to me more than one time. And I've also learned that that is not good.
No,
It is not. You have
it is
to
a backhanded
advocate.
compliment.
Yeah, it is not. Sounds like one, but it
Yeah.
really isn't. And so it's just a convenient way of them not promoting me, and allowing my peers at the time to continue to go right on and just do great things. And so I'd say that for the ones who are really truly successful, they have figured out what it is that makes them unique. And they're not afraid to go out there and go get it and be proactive and not wait for someone to get to recognize it in them. But they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to show the world in many ways that this is who I am. This is what I do. And they look for opportunities to showcase that. And so those are the folks that I think have been the most successful and literally can have gone on to do great things.
Absolutely. Going right off of this, it's kind of my famous, we're rounding down the episode question. If you had a magic bottle, you could put a message in it, send it to yourself back in time to the beginning of your career. What pieces of advice would you give yourself from the future? All the hard won wisdom that you know now that would have maybe saved you some pain over the years.
Yeah, yeah. The first one is easy because it took me a long time to learn it. That there's a design to the world, and for me personally, I know that not everyone listening will feel this way, but to me, God has put the world on a perfect design, and as long as you're trying to do it your way, my way, it definitely has not been successful. And or I've had a lot to go through, a lot of different mistakes. And so I'd say, going back to that young man, I'd be like, hey, really seek God and ask him, just pray about it and really, really get serious about it. I said, because I'm telling you, there is a way that this thing is going to work. And if you can find his path, it'll be so much better than trying to do it yourself. Another thing that I'd probably go back and say to that young man is that it's going to be okay. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and you're going to feel like you're going to fail more than you're going to succeed. But I would also say, just keep going. Don't lose faith, and just know that as long as you're here one more day, God's giving you another opportunity to get it right and to do great
Do it again.
things, and to just don't give up. Don't give up. And the last thing I'd say to that young man is to be responsible in the sense of your relationships. Not every relationship is a good relationship. And so I think that having the wisdom of discernment, or discernment, to be able to go, hey, these are some good relationships. I had a mentor of mine tell me this, and I'm sure you probably heard it too, where show me your current 5 friends and I'll show you your future. That is more truth than false, because if you don't surround yourself with the right people that are going places, doing great things, you're going to find yourself not going where you want to go. So I'd say those would be the big three things that I would go back and tell myself. And then lastly, have fun,
Please.
have fun, have fun, have fun. This thing,
Yes.
this thing it's going to be chaotic. It's going to always be pressure at times, but enjoy it. If and when I lose my passion for recruiting and being able to really help people and impact their lives and help the changes, and of course find great people for our clients, the day that changes, I need to go do something else. And so follow your passion, and that would be pretty much the things I would say.
I love that. It's my favorite question of every interview, and that was a very good answer to it as somebody who's asked it to many people. And we are reaching the end of our episode. I would like to open the floor to you. Is there any way that our audience members could find and connect to you if they are in need of your services?
Absolutely. Of course, I'm on LinkedIn,
We
at
love
John
LinkedIn in
Bryant.
this house. We
Yeah,
love
yeah,
LinkedIn.
at John Bryant BSS. You find me, I'm out there. Also, of course, you can always email me, jrbryant at team-bss.com. Or if you put in Bryant Staffing Solutions, you'll find me there too. We're pretty much on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, even I think we're even doing some YouTube stuff now. So we're out there. But if you put in Bryant Staffing Solutions or John Bryant BSS, I'm out there, and I look forward to being able to support anyone. And it's not even necessarily about clients and all that kind of stuff. Really, at the end of the day, I want to be a resource and be able to help people. And so, even if you just have questions about hiring, questions about the job market, what we're seeing, I'd be more than happy to help anyone in your audience.
Yeah. Even in the short amount of time I've had the privilege of knowing you, you've been an excellent mentor. Even to me, I've learned so much. And so thank you again, really, for making time and coming on the show. And I also would like to thank the people at home, those who watch us, who click. Please do like, subscribe, find us all over the web. Our fingerprints are on everything. And thank you again for listening to When IT Hits the Fan, brought to you by Rhyno Healthcare Solutions. See you again next week.